my friends, my name is Gosia, this is Cosmic Agency, and I know I have said in several places that I'm going to publish anecdotes video next. That was going to go next, yes, the video with different personal stories and anecdotes from the ship from the last years that were never shared or were never meant to be shared, but I was compiling them on the side to probably share it one day. So I was going to publish that as the next video. This video was supposed to be that, but unfortunately I had to change the plans because Claudia, who is doing the voice of Anneka, and I need her for that video to tell some of the stories, got sick. So I had to change a little bit the program here. So that video anecdote is going to come next, or whenever Claudia feels better. Feel better, Claudia, by the way. Take your time, and thank you very much for all your contribution all these years. And this video today is also personal, also based on some personal chats that I wasn't sure if I would ever publish, because they were mostly to do with my own curiosity about the immersion, and especially my immersion. Now, for the new people who might not know, the immersion program is when the person that is up there outside Earth is going into the hibernation state and then rewires the signal of their consciousness into the chosen avatar human body on Earth. We have very detailed information about the immersion programs, so check that out. I'm not going to talk more about what they are here right now, but to understand this video, you need to understand that I'm speaking about myself being in the immersion here, because as I was revealed, I don't have any specific memory, but as I was revealed, I am in a targeted immersion. So I am here deepening with Yazhi some of these personal questions, okay? By the way, I know the name of myself up there, but for the sake of this video, I changed that name to Caroline. So when I'm referring to the Caroline, which I will be referring to her a lot, that's me up there. So there are several chats here, and in this first chat, I'm beginning to ask Yazhi about the memories and how is it that my brain is not decoding the Caroline's memories. And then the conversation goes on into other topics. I will make some additional comments as we go along, but enjoy this video. It's not just about me, it's about immersions in general. So keep watching, because this way you'll be able to understand more about how the immersions work. And by the way, this is one of the most common methods, apart from coming from the source itself, of course, of entry into the human avatar. Okay, millions of extraterrestrials, as Yazhi here says, are coming in these days, or have been coming in these days, to be humans. Enjoy! These are my casual chats with Yazhi Swaruu about my immersion. My Targetan Immersed Eyes name was changed to Caroline. Originally in English, 2021-2022. Yazhi, you said that the memory is not in the brain, right? Or the brain being its decodifier solely, something like that? Although out of the body we also remember stuff, so the brain is not needed. This specific set does belong to one person in particular, but it overlaps with the field of everyone else. Many call this the Akashic Records, to be able to extract information from a collective memory. But the question is, if the memory is not in my brain, I should be decoding Caroline and her memories too. I guess I'm not because of the immersion settings. But shouldn't I be accessing her brain decoder too, if I am her? In a way,
as you are in Gosia, the neuronal network wiring is not set to detect and decode Caroline.
But that's because of my low settings in the immersion. Or soul decisions, I guess. You said I could have set it for high memory, then I would remember.
Dale remembers a bit more than you, others a lot more than Dale. There are starseeds down there that look different from their stellar bodies, that have fictitious lives there, matrix families, matrix moms, and have 100% memory of everything and of who they are in another place, where they really are from.
So they are decoding their 5D brains.
Yes. And why? Many times that is one of the reasons why the Greys abduct people, to impose and create a mental network to host a desired signal from way above Earth plane and density.
So the same 3D brain is decoding both the previous owner and 5D person. A lot of work for one decoder. Isn't it hard for the Earth brain?
Yes, it is. The brain neuronal and dendritic network is very dense in those people. Many call them geniuses. The brain can function with that pressure for a relatively short period of time before burning out. Many starseeds start to lose their minds. They attribute it to other causes. This is yet another form of frequency dissonance syndrome.
Then how will that be achieved up there after our extraction? If I go up, my Gosia brain will be decoding from 2 brains too as well. Will it be okay for its network? I will still be decoding Gosia's life and Caroline's.
Yes, because here, where you wrongly, according to me, call it 5D, the frequency allows for more traffic of information. So decoding Gosia and Caroline is no problem for a 5D brain. Also, Caroline's brain is permanently being rewired with Gosia things, as if she were having the experience herself in that 5D body as a daily process. That's why a body in immersion will twitch and toss and turn many times, reacting to the stimulus of a 3D life.
Ah, okay, I understand. Gosia things are probably Caroline's things anyway. That's why they were Gosia's in the first place. I, Caroline, overrode hers.
Gosia overriding Caroline mostly, in the sense as Caroline is not having more Caroline memories, so hers are left as past memories, and Gosia's memories are superimposed on Caroline as more recent memories. And as people go evolving and changing all the time anyway, immersion or not, people are never the same. So whatever Caroline was formed Gosia as a base foundation for her personality. But this means that as you come up here and awaken, who awakens will be Gosia, not Caroline, as she was left in the past, as seen from your linear and personal timeline.
Do you know if I twitch a lot?
Everyone twitches and turns in their pods.
Okay, but I will regain Caroline's memory, no?
Oh yes, as a past memory, as something that happened long ago for you.
Wow, okay. Why did I sacrifice myself this way?
You tell me.
Kal-El said a long time ago that he does see this as losing yourself, sacrificing part of you. I wonder. My pod must have some notes there, my plan.
To fulfill a sense of mission. With all what is going on Earth today, not hard to see why.
Maybe it wasn't my first time and it wasn't a big deal for me. Not afraid of change and unknown. And going back to identity talk in the beginning, one is never lost, even when transformed. So I guess that's what made me want to do this.
And I guess it's not such a big deal after all if so many ETs do it, immersions. Millions of ETs in immersion there right now, more than any other time in history, all with their support crews in orbit. That's why there's so much traffic and parked ships near Earth. You didn't think they are just there poking their noses idly, if they have any. Well, then it's not a big deal. As seen from 5D and above, no, it's not a big deal. Why aren't you coordinating the efforts more, though, among the ETs? It seems all want to help. Because there are too many different races up here, and even though they may all consider themselves as positive, there are problems and misunderstandings among them. Just look at Andromeda and Taygeta. They don't really get along. But sometimes some very different species do get along, like Taygeta and Urma, or Sassani with Alpha Draco. They are friends. Well then, how do you want humans to unite, you see? That is the challenge, and I stand by my words. Organize or die, and many will. And they will learn from that experience, races and individuals.
Okay, I have to make a pause here and introduce the next portion of this chat, because the first question of this next chat might be a bit confusing. And I'm asking here, how is it that you can be a real person here on Earth and still be directed by the extraterrestrial person being in immersion in you at the same time? Because I understood that when the person walking in through the immersion walks in, that previous soul walks out. So it's not like two occupying the same body at the same time. But apparently there can be different modalities of the immersion. So that's why this first question here refers to those other modalities, where sometimes actually you can come into someone through the immersion in pulses or in short period of times. So it's not like you are there all the time in that avatar, but sometimes, and you're like influencing that person. Of course, there still has to be a frequency match and all that, but that's what I'm referring here in that first question. And then the conversation develops in other directions.
But how can you be a real person with the soul and still be manipulated by someone else in the immersion up there? I thought you enter in immersion in Matrix people. Oh yes, you can be. And a lot easier because there is a frequency match. A better frequency match than a simple empty backdrop Matrix person. The person in immersion makes the real human think it's having private thoughts and actions, relegating that real person almost to a passenger seat view of their life. Is this what Caroline has done to Gosia? But then, who that person is at that moment? That's a bit invasive, no? In a way, yes. But it's not all that invasive. Not always, at least, because of the frequency match. And the frequency match is ideas match. Ideas and concepts are frequency. So Caroline thinks like Gosia. Gosia thinks like Caroline. So Caroline's ideas are accepted by Gosia as her own because it serves her purpose in life. But am I Gosia or am I Caroline? Are they two separate people merged as one by similar ideas? From one point of view, you are Gosia. From another, you are Caroline. From my point of view, you are both. But there were two souls, Gosia's before and Caroline's, two souls. So they become assimilated? I thought Gosia's soul left, or that she was a program. No, there has always been one soul, source. But said in another way, Gosia's soul merged with Caroline's, becoming one. sharing what they both were to form a more expanded soul, Karolosha. If Gosia was just a program, then she was not real, and only Caroline was. I am completely sure she was real, and still is.
So they merged?
You see it as merged, as in different souls. I see what you have always been, and that is the same soul. Look at it this way. You are not the same one as you were in 2017. You are more expanded now. But everything you were in 2017 is still in you. As I see this, and as with everyone else, we go gathering, assimilating souls as we go along, incorporating consciousness into ourselves, making us grow. I see this as a natural process of expansion. The idea or the group of ideas that make up a person ego self is never static. It continues to expand, assimilating new ideas into one self all the time. Those new ideas remove older ones, replacing them with better ideas. So the person no longer is the same person. It changed, evolved.
I understand, but still, so much about this I don't grasp, technically. For example, where was my I awareness when I entered in 2017? If I was in Gosia, then Caroline entered and ate up my I, right? In that sense, I didn't enter in 2017. I was eaten up by Caroline, superimposed.
In a way, you let her in. It served your purpose for expansion. You are her now. It's not like Caroline ate Gosia. It's more of cooperation between you both to fuse into forming another, using, for now, Gosia's body and history simply because it serves you there on Earth.
But Gosia as a soul had her own line of expansion and adventures. Maybe she didn't want to merge with Caroline's line of adventures.
She did want that because that is what happened. Couldn't have happened otherwise. And the reason why it can be said that you merged is because you were a frequency match. And you were a frequency match because you have always been aspects of the same person. You are just you, however you want to call yourself. You have nothing to worry about. You are just you. Perhaps I did not word it correctly and described it as an invasive procedure as I attempted to describe this, but I must accept that invasive takeovers do exist and are common, but are done by regressive races. Examples of this are demonic possessions. A lesser way are channelings as well. You cannot be possessed if you are not a frequency match. And that is being unequal to something perceived as else.
Okay, so the last portion of the chat here, I've been driving myself crazy, or I was before at that time, because that conversation was in 2021, 2022, somewhere around those years. And I was driving myself crazy thinking, okay, if that Caroline, myself, can be woken up there in the pod, I thought before that automatically I here just like disappear, the program terminates. But apparently no, I here could be creating, and probably already am creating, another point of attention. It's still Caroline, but she can kind of sustain herself. I can sustain myself here by myself without the pod. So if they woke up Caroline, me in the pod, she could be walking around without me being terminated. I would be still here. But my question here was driving me crazy. If I am one, if Caroline and me is one, Caroline is sleeping now, so there's just one consciousness. Once they wake up the Caroline, where will my attention go? How will it know where to follow? Will I be there where I am there? Or will I remain here with my attention here? Because right now, Caroline's attention there is nowhere, is here, is fully here because she's asleep. But once she's awakened, and then what? The attention kind of splits, but who says where will my awareness go? Will it travel there or will it stay here? So this is more or less what we are talking about here and other topics around this issue. I hope you enjoyed this. This was personal. This was something that I had a very, very much curiosity about to understand. There are still some holes in this whole understanding of the immersion, but I think that it helped you to grasp a little bit more the whole immersion topic, or maybe it confused you more, maybe it opened more questions, or maybe all at once. For me, it cleared some questions, but of course it opened more, as always happens. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope the next video can be the anecdotes, but if not, for sure I'm going to find something else to share that is interesting. Enjoy your days, your evenings, and your nights, and we see each other again very soon. Bye bye.
Yazhi, I need the clarification on something we talked about that doesn't let me in peace, please. First question. I thought that when the immersion pod is shut off and the person is unplugged, the 3D avatar dies. But from our recent chats, it seems that it's not always the case. Why not? And question 2. With this, does this mean that if Caroline was unplugged, the body of Gosia here would continue alive? Where would I be then? Would I wake up there? Or would I continue down here? In other words, the same as the souls merged, so to speak, of Caroline and Gosia, is it possible that they unmerge? Gosia continuing as Gosia and Caroline as Caroline? In that case, where would I be? The feeling of I, my awareness, where will my I go to? To answer question 1, 2 options. Person in an immersion pod connecting to a matrix backdrop avatar. When disconnected, avatar dies. B. Person in an immersion pod connecting to a person having an experience there. When disconnected, person continues its way with what it learned during the experience. This because B already had someone animating it and had 2 consciousnesses working through it as one. A backdrop person dies because there is nothing animating it, and the matrix program that formerly was making it work does not interface or connect with it because its frequency of thought, even being a backdrop person, does not match the matrix. But this can also have an exception if the backdrop person can return to the matrix or form another soul variant that can hold it alive. Souls, or what you call a person consciousness awareness, is never something stable. It's ever-changing and based on concepts and ideas it holds, especially the meaning of I am. In your case, there is nothing to worry about because you will always be you and you are in charge, never someone else, not even Caroline, because you are Caroline. You can disregard all this metaphysical web and go back into believing in Jesus Christ and in democracy and all that. You will have a choice there, always. You can always choose who you are, and that does not depend on where you are. So you are whatever you want to be, regardless if you are in a bank queue, in a forest, or in a starship. About question 2. Where would you be if Caroline's body was unplugged?
You are always wherever your attention is, wherever you want. Never ever where you are forced to be. That's a manipulative illusion. And yes, souls can unmerge, and that is how a new soul is formed. Source was one soul, and still is one soul, and using ideas and concepts of limitation from one point to another specific point, it is someone else. That is creating another soul, unmerge.
But I still don't understand where my awareness of I will go if Caroline was unplugged. Will I continue down here as a person who continues her life with what she learned, like you said above, or would I transfer to up there?
Most of the time you cannot know, because your consciousness awareness is fully in your new avatar. That's true. But that's empowering, because it means that you are in control of everything and not someone else. I notice you still make a distinction between Caroline and Gosia. Those are names referring to a body, not to who is driving it. Who is driving whatever body of those is you, and only you. So in a way, there is no Caroline, there is only Gosia. And if you want to be called Caroline or Carolosha, it is your choice, as I prefer to be called Yazhi. Although I am coming to accept my original mother-given name now, the one I was kind of hiding.
I am just worried that Caroline will be unplugged and continue her life up there one day, and Gosia and the sensation of me, the I, will continue down here.
The sensation of you is in you. Yes, that's Caroline and also Gosia. You are in control. Not some strange stellar woman in a pod 440 light years away. She is you.
Well, I am making a distinction between them though, because you yourself said, now you are her. So there is a her.
Yes, this is a case of me using all the words I have at hand, but then the wording creates more doubts in you, because there are only so many I have to describe this. In a way, you were only Gosia because you knew nothing about Caroline or being Caroline, and you do now. So you cannot unlearn that. You merged with Caroline because you accepted to be her and to embrace all these stellar concepts of the Taigetans and Svarunians. In the absolute term or way, you have always been Caroline. You have always been you. However you want to call yourself.
It's still a bit confusing, Yazhi.
Why can't I explain this? It's not that complicated. Your being whoever you are does not depend on a woman in space you don't know. It's only on you. You will be whoever you want to be, including Caroline, if that is what you want to be.
Yes, but Yazhi, what is confusing me is you saying that if you disconnect the pod, the avatar can still continue. I thought you just automatically wake up in the pod. But if not always, well then, where will I find myself if that happened?
In Gosia, there in Finland on the terrace. Unplugged or not, that is where Caroline is now.
I thought that once the pod is unplugged, that terminates the program and we are no longer in our avatars. You see my confusion here?
There are several ways of working through someone. In your case, Caroline is Gosia. The interface is clearly complete. Gosia equals Caroline and Caroline equals Gosia. But there are other cases where we cannot know exactly how the ET person is interfacing, connecting with the human avatar. It could be that the ET uses human's original consciousness awareness ego self, CAES, not merging with her as one, and only using her, manipulating her thoughts from behind as demons possess people. The original person's CAES is there all the time, but it's being overridden by another stronger CAES that is using high technology to control the first CAES. This can happen, and it's not the positive kind usually. This method is widely used by reptilian races on Earth, for example. But answering your specific question about whether unplugging you would terminate Gosia or not, and whether you would wake up here. Unless Gosia was only a backdrop person with no CAES. But as it's quite evident that that was not the case, then you are simply the same person, and unplugging Caroline will not affect your life as you are already in another container. The immersion pod works exactly like a VPN. Your original location is rerouted to a new location of choice, intercepting the signal. But if you remove the original location, the VPN does not have from where to reroute. But as CAES is not in a body, the original location, Caroline body, when another body, Gosia, is well adapted to receiving the CAES signal from source, the VPN immersion pod no longer is necessary. Your CAES is coming into Gosia directly from source, no longer needing the immersion pod as it was needed before.
Why is it evident that Gosia was not a backdrop person?
Because you said you existed, because you sense that, and we trust what you say, because who are we to state otherwise?
Okay, well, I don't know for sure. So unplugging me would duplicate me?
If Caroline survives and still received the original CAES, yes, then there is a duplicate like we've been telling you about.
Well, then what's the point of having people asleep in pods? They can just use immersion as the entry and then wake up, do their duty, while their other selves, well adapted to receive the source signal, is doing something else.
The point is to be able to go back to who you were before.
Oh, in case you in your avatar die, yes?
Yes. And this technology is also used for something described by other Earth ufologists as soul-swapping technology some ETs have, to change your point of attention CAES from one body to another. Body snatching.
Okay, so if they woke up Caroline and I would still be here, duplicated Caroline, it means that when I die, I have nowhere to return. So where do I wake up after my death? In the walking Caroline? In the middle of whatever she is doing?
Yes, I see your point. What happens is the same exact thing as when identical twins are born in Taygeta and in other places that are not Earth. On Earth as well, but their full telepathy is suppressed. That creates two people. One is Caroline living in Temer, awake and walking, and you there on Earth. 2 points of attention. If you were in the same realm, close to one another, then you would have to share the same consciousness. But then again, there are ways to more or less keep your individuality, using mental firewalls.
Exactly. And when I die down here, where do I go then? No more pod.
Then you would go to the afterlife. Unless she is close by, and then you kind of become her.
Oh no! Like a normal starseed coming from source?
Yes, because there is no container waiting for you.
Well then, please make sure you tell the Taygetans not to wake me up under any circumstances, please. Me not feeling like going to any afterlife.
You clearly instructed the Taygetans precisely that over a year ago. They have that noted. And the instructions in your pod state that you are to decide what is to be done. You know that. They already know.
Good setup. I was smart. So, she's still sleeping, Caroline.
Last I knew, sleeping, dreaming she is in Finland.
Okay, so to confirm, and going back to the previous point, it's not possible for Caroline to frolic away on her spaceship after she worked through Gosia, who wanted to be used down here on Earth, even when I clearly state I am in for the extraction, for example. Not possible for her to say, I am no longer in Gosia, so no need to extract her, I am here.
No, because you are Caroline. You cannot run away from yourself. And you did say, use me, but you can only be used by consent, and in that way, used by yourself. What I mean is that you are and must be always in full control over what is going on in your life. And no one ever is really lost from the point of view of Source, and of people like you in the pod or Dale. Even from a 5D point of view, you are tethered to home. And stating this clearly, the Taigetans have no intention of leaving you there.
Goody, I'm glad. Yazhi, you must go.
Oh wow, it's time. I didn't notice. Yes, I must go.
Thanks for your patience explaining this.
You are most welcome. Did I explain this properly?
I think I understand more, although there are still holes, but that's because my human brain, I think. But I am more relieved.
Don't worry. You are in control.